look, all the hype goes away when the tide recedes. All the hype goes away. It's the fundamentals that matter. So all this talk, all this, everything else doesn't matter. So I think that's what it is really. So I think we got to continue to build products people use, keep everything safe, be very reliable, and work closely with regulators. The chance of Bitcoin going to zero is zero. Bitcoin's a technology that's evolving. So we've seen that with the internet. There can be ups and downs with the companies performing well, not well, but the internet itself is growing. So once I figured that out, I was all in. Could be a few factors that may cause the industry to move in different ways. Number one is regulation. Actually, there's a joke about my hair from our team. They say that the longer my hair grows, the higher the price goes up. Now, for the last month or so, mainly because I was planning to go snowboarding, I didn't want to have a champagne on the mountain, so that it's a bit cold. And also today proved that the hair may or may not control the price that much. So I might go for a haircut again soon. The key lesson that we learn is let's go back to basics, right? Let's stick with fundamentals. Let's build sustainable businesses. Let's focus on the technology. So let's build use cases, build products people use. So I think, look, all the hype goes away. When the tide recedes, all the hype goes away. It's the fundamentals that matter. So all this talk, all this, everything else doesn't matter. So I think that's what it is really. So I think we got to continue to build products people use, keep everything safe, be very reliable, and work closely with regulators. Education is super important. Binance is doing a lot of it. You guys are doing quite a lot of it. We should continue to do that as an industry. We should educate normal users about risks, how to manage their risks, etc. We should be educating or working collaboratively with regulators all around the world. And then trust is built over time. We're in an industry where we can use some of the technologies that are trustless. So we can be more transparent, proof of reserves, Merkle trees. If we can consistently demonstrate we're reliable, we're consistent, we do what we say, we will earn our users' trust over time. So I think we've done that for the last 5.5 years, and we'll continue to do that hopefully for the next 500 years. Don't focus on the money, focus on the users. So there's many different ways to say that. In our industry, we're so close. We're in a money industry. We're so close to the money. You can issue a coin. You can have large supply. You can sell them. Then suddenly you're a multi-millionaire. You can even be a billionaire. But so many people get distracted by that, and that's all they focus on. Instead, then we should be focusing on product and users. Actually, it's very simple. I strongly believe blockchain is the most energy efficient money network. So the blockchain is more efficient than traditional banks, other financial institutions, etc. It's the most energy efficient network for managing the amount of assets it's managing. Even the Bitcoin network, even though it uses proof of work, mining, electricity mining, etc., it's already the most efficient money network compared to anything that existed before that. And as you said, there are newer blockchains that use much less energy. Yeah. But all the blockchains in the world are extremely efficient. So actually, if we are talking about sustainability and energy efficiency, people should want to use blockchain. Using blockchain saves a lot of money, a lot of energy. The thing people focus on, there's a lot of misconceptions or narratives that are wrong, because we can measure the Bitcoin mining energy spending, that it's a large number, and I think that's bad. But I can guarantee you it's more efficient than any bank that you have to use, because you can just see from the transaction fees. Today, if you want to send $1 million on the Bitcoin network, it costs you $1. If you want to do that through a bank, it's going to cost you more. That means the banks are using more energy to move those funds. So I think we should just use more blockchain to save energy. Yeah. So I think my aha moment is probably going to be December 2013 in Las Vegas. There was a Bitcoin conference, maybe with like 100-something people, a very small conference. So I come to learn about Bitcoin in mid 2013. So, and I've been reading about the white paper, downloaded the wallet, playing with it. There's much less material back then than there is now. I understood the technology, and I think, well, it might work, but we need a community behind it. So that's why I went to a conference in December 2013. And at the time, the news headlines were all Silk Road, drug lords using Bitcoin, etc. And then after that conference, I said, if this is a community that's behind it, I can do it. So that's why after that conference, I quit my job, started looking for a new job in the crypto industry, the Bitcoin industry back then. And then I sold my apartment and converted that into Bitcoin. So that's kind of my aha moment back then. The chance of Bitcoin going to zero is zero. Bitcoin is not Bitcoin is a technology that's evolving. So we've seen that with the internet. There can be ups and downs with the companies performing well, not well, but the internet itself is growing. So technologies don't go away. Big technologies like Bitcoin, internet, the concept in our heads. If we shut down Bitcoin, if we shut down internet today, there will be internet too, because we know how to do it now. So this thing will not disappear. So once I figured that out, I was all in. So the risk would be any company, etc., or any project I was involved with have some risks. I can always get a different job. I have it in a blog post. It's not very well written. I'm still working on version 2. So I had the privilege and the honor to meet with Ray Dalio maybe about 8 months ago. And I've met him over 4 or 5 times over the last 8-9 months. And when I first met him, before I first met him, I read his books about principles. But I was trying to write down my own principles. It was super difficult. It was very, very difficult to generalize your principles so that they handle special cases, etc. He was actually my inspiration and kind of coach helping me to write down my principles. It's a 20-page document now. It's on the Binance blog. If you search for CZ principles, you'll find it. There are simple things like always do the right thing, always be ethical. There's some controversial things like never sign exclusive contracts, never enter into exclusive agreements. To be very frank, I've been less involved on the enterprise side. I've been much more involved on the retail side. So to be very frank, I'm probably not the expert on the enterprise adoption. There are many other companies like yourselves who focus on this area. For me, some of the stronger use cases like global fundraising using blockchain. Entrepreneurs can raise money much easier. Who wouldn't want this ability in their country? So that their entrepreneurs can raise money globally in a matter of days. That's the most direct form of foreign direct investment. Every country wants FDI. So this is one. And cross-border remittances, many countries rely on this. There's many of these little use cases, not little, there's many of these use cases that are not very strong in that's not very well handled by traditional financial services. Right. So I think quite a lot of these use cases are very interesting. And on the enterprise side, I don't know too well. Every use case is important. The market will determine which ones are more important than others by adoption, right? So if you're working on a use case that addresses a key concern, then you will see more usage of your product. So I think layer ones are really important. Layer ones within enterprises, I think that's got to be very important. Like the number of transactions may be lower, but the volume should be much higher. As an exchange, we're the liquidity provider. We're the price discovery market mechanism. So we can help projects that gain traction. And enterprises, retail guys can all use us. So that's what an exchange that's the main function of an exchange. But I think also Binance helps many projects to grow in the ecosystem. We invest, we do incubations, we help them to do adoption. So we also work with governments on policies, etc. So there's many ways we can try to help push adoption. In any new industry, you will see consolidation of traditional layers. So before, as a retail user or as any trader, you have to get a broker, submit your orders to the broker. The broker then sends your order to an exchange. The broker, in theory, should provide you some value-added services like advices, risk management, other things, but they also charge a fee. So the more layers you have in that process, the higher the fee. And if you're doing a startup, then you're usually raising money from a VC, and then you do round A, B, C, D, however many rounds, and then you go for a listing. You try to go for an IPO. We service 120, 130 million users globally. and they come directly to the exchange, and they can subscribe directly to an ICO or IEO or Launchpad. This is actually good for the user. It's actually very stressful on the exchange from a technology, from operations point of view, but it really saves the cost for the users. But there could be a few factors that may cause the industry to move in different ways. Number one is regulation, right? So now I think many people want to have asset segregation from the exchange. So we're looking at custody solutions where the custody of the assets are separate from the trading engine. That's okay too. Again, that introduces some latencies and potentially some costs. And then there are other things like, regulations could say, hey, you have to have separate processes for different things. So there's many forces at play, but from a technology evolution and from a saving cost for users, from the most economic point of view, yes, consolidation is definitely happening. This is just a new technology for money, right? And the technology doesn't go away. So if we backtrack a bit, if we think about the internet, the internet was just a new technology for transferring information. That's all it is. It's just TCP/IP packets over the wire or over the air. And with that simple technology, we built this entire ecosystem out of it. There's social media, there's search, there's e-commerce, there's many things. We can't even really imagine the world without internet now. Internet deals with information, now we're dealing with money. This new technology is going to have much bigger impact than that technology that deals with money or with information. So I think the impact is going to be quite big. And it's actually because the impact is so big, we actually need to proceed slowly and carefully and steadily so that we don't cause big disruptions. We can have small iterations, but big disruptions are bad. So so that's how I view it, how I conceptualize it. So it's not about any single coin. It's not about any single blockchain. It's not about any single exchange. It's the fundamental technology that's being evolved, and it will continue to evolve because there's hundreds of millions of people looking at this industry in this industry right now.